Hey YouTubies, welcome back for another mental health update. This video is just about my skin picking. Some of you have been asking what is wrong with my skin. So this video is going to be only about my skin. Well, it might involve a couple other things that kind of tie into my body picking. Excuse me. This is like the 5th time I've started this video. I'm having such a hard time talking about this. I'm stumbling over my words even because it's hard to talk about. But I want to address it. Some of you guys have been mentioning in the comments, wondering what's wrong with my skin, saying ooh, and all this kind of stuff. Well, there's reasons for it. I have dermatillomania. That's the long way of saying I have skin picking issues or body picking issues. All this started about a little over a year ago. I was realizing just the other night that I think all this started about a year, a little over a year ago. I had a friend named Virkus that was online. It's his online name. That's not his real name. But I'll get into more about him in a different video, specifically about him. I'll just kind of touch on a little bit in here. Long story short, we met while playing a game. We met on playing Legends of Aria. And we hit it off, immediately. He seemed like a cool guy. Talking to him in game and all that kind of stuff. And then a couple months later, his wife left him and divorced him. And him and I just started talking as friends only at that time. God, it's hard to talk about. We started talking more because I tend to be a good listener, especially when somebody's having problems. I try to be a good listener. And so he was telling me all about his problems, about his ex-wife, how she was crazy and a narcissist and all this kind of stuff, and how his previous 2 wives were that way too. I'll get into more all that on a different video because I'm starting to already get sidetracked of what I need to be talking about. Focus, Vikki, focus. So him and I got to talking on a daily basis as friends only. Well, after a while, him and I got to talking not only on voice chat on Discord daily, but also starting to do video chat while we played Legends of Aria and other games. And like I said, it started out as just as friends. Well, one thing led to another, and we became a little bit better friends. I didn't officially cheat on Anthony, but this guy was trying to lure me away from Anthony. So this is all around the time that I was starting to learn about narcissism. I'd heard about narcissism for quite a while, for a couple years prior to when I first started learning about it. I thought, that doesn't apply to me. I don't need to learn anything about that. When in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, it kind of does apply to me because of my dad being a narcissist. And Anthony is a little bit too. I think everybody is really to a degree, but there's I think there's different levels. Just don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. I am still learning on all this stuff. So please do not anybody bash me for saying that. But anyway, while in voice chat and video, at times he would hear Anthony fuss at me and get mad and fuss at me. Well, Verkus started telling me that Anthony was a narcissist and trying to tell me I should leave him and I could come there to California where he lives and live with him and, have a relationship with him, and he basically show me the world and everything, and he has a little boy, and I could have that way I could have a child. Now, all these promises he tried for probably about a little over a year to talk me into leaving Anthony while I was learning about narcissism and all this kind of stuff. Oh my God, this is hard. To lost my train of thought. It's like I'm blanking out because of it. Just that hard to talk about. Calm down, calm down. You knock that off, boy. You're gonna lose a 9 life. You're messing up my lighting. Scoot your butt. Thank you. Your big booty. Okay. So anywho, he tried to get his hardest to get me to leave Anthony. Well, Anthony, I've been going to therapy, and my therapist has the last 2 or 3 years. I don't know if it's 2 or 3 years I've been going. I want to say 2, but I think it might be 3 years I've been going to him. Something like that. I think it's going on 3 years this coming June. Anyway, thanks to my therapist, he has taught me how to start using my I statements to Anthony and other people when I have issues with them. And that has actually helped immensely, because the way I was raised that you didn't communicate. I was the child, and I was to be quiet and not have an opinion and like that. Anthony was basically raised the same way. So neither one of us have learned to communicate very well. And then here we are coming together, and that's why part of why we, over the 25 years, have had a lot of issues. I've left him 3 times in the past. I loved him, and I knew I loved him. Partly Anthony, back then, is before we found out he was diabetic, and he was like angry drunk all the time when his sugar got high. We didn't know his sugar was high back then, but now things make more sense and all that. I'm getting all sidetracked again. But he was hearing Anthony in the background fussing at me. And thanks to my therapist teaching me how to do the I statements, I've been able to start communicating with him better, with Anthony better. And in turn, he's been trying to help in himself communicate with me better. It's a big learning curve for us both. But we're doing it. We're actually getting better at it. We've communicated more lately than we have, I think, all the 25 years we've been together. Which is good, though. Maybe we're making progress. Oh, man. Okay. Breathe, Vikki. So, yeah. Verkus heard all that. Come find out, once Anthony and I have actually started communicating better, I found out that why he was fussing at me and getting snappy every once in a while was because he was in pain. Anthony, for the last 7+ years, every so often has chest pain right in the center of his chest, like under his collar or chest bone, and they cannot figure out why. The hospital and the doctors have done numerous tests on him. I've lost track of how many tests they've done on him, and they cannot figure out what is causing his chest pain. It doesn't happen all the time, but for whatever reason, they can't figure out what is causing it. So because of the pain, it was making him cranky. And when, you know, when you're in pain, your get your tail out of the way. Your mood tends to change. So that's why he was getting snappy and not totally realizing it until we communicated better. So in the meantime of all this, Verkus is still trying to pull me away for me to move from Missouri to California. In a lot of ways, I actually wanted to move there to be with him and leave Anthony, because Anthony was getting very rude and belligerent at times, which later, after we communicated, it made sense of why. But I did actually want to move to California to be with Verkus. But in the back of my mind, I couldn't. I don't know. Well, I do now, but at that time, I didn't know exactly why I couldn't. But now that things have evolved and we're not friends anymore, I can more clearly see why I couldn't. It's because back when I was younger, like 2 or 3 years after Anthony and I were married, he was very verbally abusive, like an angry drunk back then. And I left him. I left from Missouri to Texas, and had a friendship with a guy named Jason. I didn't go there to be with Jason. I went there to start a new life. But in the end, I had to either live in my car, which I lived in my car for like 3 weeks, sucked, or stay with him and his wife and his little boy at their house. So I stayed at their house, and because of it, he used me sexually, as well as used me financially. I had 2 part-time jobs because I couldn't find anything else that was full-time or anything like that. He was all the time taking my paychecks so that I'd be stuck there. And then in the very end, when I wanted to come back home to Missouri and not give him any more money, he got mad and threatened to kill me and put my body in a bag and throw me in the river. Put a rock around my feet and throw me in the river. Needless to say, that scared me so bad that about that time that he was telling me all this, his friend Raymond had come over for a visit. So that gave me just enough time to grab my cat and a few of my items that I had stored in his house and get the hell out of Dodge. So the idea of moving to California, from Missouri to California with Verkus, I think that triggered that trauma that I had gone through because of all that, between the trauma that I dealt with Anthony being verbally abusive, verbally, emotionally, and somewhat physical, but mostly verbally and emotionally. And I think it brought back memories of that. It brought back memories of all the trouble I had when I was in Texas. My car got stolen like 3 times, and the third time whoever got it that time totaled it. I think it was some kid. So I didn't think I was actually going to have a way back home to Missouri, but I ended up being able to rent a car. So that's a whole different story. But, oh gosh, I got so far off track on this. But all these things lead up to why I do what I do, is what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. This is hard to explain. Catch my breath. So yeah, while talking to Verkus, I had all that stuff coming back at me. All that fear, all that trauma, all that anxiety, all that. Just thinking about it just So that is when my body picking started. And it's like, now I can't stop. I try so hard. I argue with myself. I mean, seriously, I argue to myself up in my head. Vikki, stop picking. Fop, stop, stop. Was a fop. I actually said fop. Stop picking. And no sooner I tell myself to stop picking, I'll stop for half a second, and then I'll find a different spot to pick. I have no control over it at this point. It's depressing. It's embarrassing. I am in, how do I say it? I'm keeping my issues up to date with my doctor, excuse me, and my therapist, both. I have started just the other night putting on medicated lotion all over where I have owies. And then I have some gloves. I have some camouflage gloves. And I've cut the 2 fingers out on the ends because otherwise my hands get so hot. Our room gets really hot because we have a little mini refrigerator in our room, as well as our 2 computers. They heat up the room, and Anthony heats up the room too. He is actually a personal heater. So my hands get really hot if I have full gloves on. So I cut the fingers out so that I only have the fingers of the gloves on these 3 fingers, so I can't pick while I'm sleeping. That is actually helping. I didn't wear them last night because I thought, oh, I got it under control. I can do this. No, your girl's not got it under control. Clearly. I'm trying. But I am in contact with my doctor, and she's actually upped my medication, like I said last time in the other video. She's upped my medication, as well as talking to my therapist. And he this last time I talked to him, because I was talking about my body picking and how I think it's related to trauma, past trauma. He was actually wondering if maybe I need to start talking to him at least a little bit here and there about my past, which is going to be hard for me because there's some things I've never talked to anybody about. And I don't know if I can. I have actually thought about starting a blog, whether it be public or personal. I thought about making it public. Who knows, maybe what I go through and gone through might help somebody else. I don't know. Or some people just like the drama. I've had tons of drama in my life, unfortunately. But, so yeah, that's why I do the body picking. I am actually starting, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I am starting to actually get it under control because of slathering up with the medicated lotion at night, or even during the day too, as well as occasionally using a spritz bottle and spritzing rubbing alcohol to help dry things up, and taking magnesium Epsom salt baths. That's actually helped as well. And then of course the gloves. I have seriously thought about, and I'm not even joking, I've even Googled it, thought about purchasing a straight jacket, just so I could keep myself from picking, because it's really bothering me. People think I'm on meth or something else, and I have some sort of horrible disease or something, and I don't take drugs, except for the prescription drugs that the doctor gives me. So, I don't take anything, but I'm so over this. But at least now I am starting to finally put the pieces to the puzzle together and realize how and why things started, so I can at least work on not doing the picking, as well as working on other issues in my life too. And one last thing, just last night, I also started learning about the vagus nerve, which is connected to everything, and it is also connected. I don't know everything about it yet. I just started learning about it, but how it can tie into trauma issues and body picking and all that kind of stuff too. Like your brain gets mixed signals with your body. Oh, yeah, that looks bad there. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. But how your brain gives mixed signals to your body, which I think that's what is partly happening, is my brain is just like giving mixed signals everywhere. And because of it, I'm just like picking everywhere and just uncontrollable. I will succeed on overcoming this. I am determined of that. There's a will, there's a way, and I have lots of will. So, hoping my voice, I feel that, I feel like my voice sounds off to me right now while I'm talking, because it feels like it's like cracking, because this is so hard to talk about. And I'll admit, I used to do body picking when I started body picking, I think, when I was like 4 or 5 years old. I used to have I don't know what you call it for reals, but Mom used to call it cradle cap. I don't know what that means. All I know is like a little crusty area up here all the time, like a constant scab on my scalp. And I used to pick it all the time when I was in nervous situations or overthinking and all that. Well, back then, just doing the body picking up here, it didn't draw blood, and nobody really seen it. Nobody really paid attention. Because I used to, I still do occasionally, used to do the hair pulling and twirling and all that kind of stuff too, which is triloticomania. Like, yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it. I might have it pronounced a little bit wrong. You could probably Google it and ferret out the correct pronunciation. Some of these words are hard to say. But I used to do that when I was in nervous situations also. I used to do that all the time when I was talking to Verkus. I would do the hair twirling and pulling, because it was like I was nervous, even though I liked him. But at the same time, I didn't want to like him that much because I love Anthony. You know, he has a butthead sometimes, but we're working on things. You know, that's part of being married with your husband, your spouse. You work on things. Try to, at least. So, but anywho, so yeah, that's why my body picking. Long story of it, I know. Sorry. Oh yeah, 24 minutes. So, when I get a chance here soon, I will get into the story about the full story about Verkus. It might be hard, but I'll try. So, all right. If you're new to our channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell. Give your girl a little support here. I could really use it. I've practically been almost on the verge of tears because of dealing with all the skin issue. So I have actually started, just as of last night, because of learning about the vagus nerve and how you can reset your vagus nerve where you actually straighten out a lot of your problems, so to speak. I don't really know how to word all this stuff. I'm not a professional, as you can see. But some of the things to do are meditation, yoga, deep breathing. I can't think of some other stuff. Exercise. And it's all some of the things I'm actually planning on doing. I'm wanting to start exercising today because I have a new channel that I'm wanting to work on. It's called Vikki's. Just drew a blank. Oh my God. Oh, Vikki's health and weight loss journey. Wow, how did I forget that? But anyway, I'm feeling a little scatterbrained right here now because yeah, I'm wanting to start exercising so I can work on that channel and do videos on it, because I have a really hard time exercising because of chronic fatigue that is caused by, well, I don't know for sure what it's caused by, but it's related to symptoms from my CPTSD, which is complex PTSD, from all the trauma that I've had in the past. What are you into? But the cat's ruining something. But the problem is, the weather's hot, and if I do hardly any, wow, almost had him. If I do hardly any moving at all, I get winded like I've been exercising for like 20 minutes. Like, granted, I need to lose weight. I've gained about 14, 16 pounds recently. So I'm wanting to work on that so I can actually start losing the weight, but also so I can start working on my vagus nerve and everything also. But yeah, I'm just having such a hard time with it and having a hard time breathing. So, anywho, I'm done rambling for now. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.